Slide 189, Lesson 8, Weak Verbs Table. The following table shows 10 different classifications of weak verbs, and the columns are called column 1, 2 and 3 for first, second and third letters of the verb, or another word for that is radicals, first, second and third radical. An older way of classifying the first, second and third position in the verb has a letter standing for each position from the verb pa'al. So a letter in position 1 is either called a position 1 letter or a position pay letter. A letter in the second position is called a second position letter or a ayin, and third position is also called a lamed position. In any case, let's have a look at this example. The first one has a guttural in the first position, so it's called, according to this nomenclature, it's called a pay guttural. In the more modern system, it's called a one guttural. So in any case, an ayin is a guttural. So this is an example, a mud, of a weak verb, and there is a table associated with this classification, and the weak verbs will take on vowels and consonants in an identical way if it's got a guttural in this location, an ayin or a hay or a chet and so forth. That's called a pay guttural. And a couple of slides from now we'll look at a whole lot of different tables for each one of these classifications. So this one here, sha'al, it has an aleph in the second location, the ayin location. So it's called an ayin guttural, or in the more modern system it's called a two guttural or second guttural. So sha'al, it's got a guttural in the second position. So the first one has a guttural here, the second one has a guttural here, and the third one has a guttural here, a chet, in the word shalach in this example. So as I said, we'll see tables for verbs that have this particular pattern. Further down we have the word achal, and it has a aleph in the first position here, so it's called a pay aleph weak verb, and there's a chart associated with that, or a first aleph verb, and so on and so forth through this list. Here we see the hollow verbs, the ayin vav and the ayin yod, and that can be a second vav or second yod weak verb. And here we have a verb beginning with a yod. Again, that's a weak verb. It begins with a yod, so it's called a pay vav or pay yod, the pay meaning it's in the first position here. And this one here has a two identical letters in the second and third position, so that's called a double ayin verb or geminate verb. And we have these ones here, pay aleph, lamed aleph and lamed hay. So there's a table for each one of these. So this is just a useful classification, and each table associated with these will show all the different vowel changes for any of the verbs in this classification. Slide 190, Lesson 8, Verb Tables. You've seen the strong verb table for the perfect and imperfect in Lesson 7. Grammar books usually have lots and lots of tables of weak verbs also, and you saw the classification chart in the previous slide with the 10 different classifications of weak verbs, and we'll see that in the following slides, the actual charts. Here's an example of a chart, this one from Page H. Kelly's book. This is the pay guttural verb, and you'll see how the vowels work and consonants work in the various conjugations and verb stems. It's not necessary to know all that to read Biblical Hebrew. It's enough to know that these weak verbs exist and that they have different vowels in their conjugations and stems. And it's enough to know that there is a table that you can look up if you want to check up what it is. I've hardly used these tables at all. It's more of an academic exercise. I would really recommend you just learn the Hebrew words and begin reading the Bible very slowly and carefully. It's not the purpose of this course to go into all the details of weak verbs. But if you want, you can purchase a Hebrew textbook and do the numerous weak verb exercises within it. Again, most biblical Hebrew grammar textbooks will spend, anywhere between 1/3 to 2/3 of the book on weak verbs. But weak verbs only account for 1/3 of the verbs in the Bible. So it's an exercise in diminishing returns. It is important, but it's not nearly as important as the other lessons in the previous to this. So the following pages give an example of Hebrew verb charts for the weak verbs. So that slides 191 to 220. So we've got about 30 slides there, and I'll just rush through them very, very quickly just to flash them on the screen, and you can look at them at your leisure if you so desire. They are there for reference only and not to give you a headache. And again, this chart here was from Page H. Kelly's Biblical Hebrew and Introductory Grammar. So let's have a look at them.